Now fuel prices they go down, and how things they go there, bro.
Abuofunu, John Mahama chop president, you can't chop minister. Yanyan kwasi adwuma na wo be minister for di ma.
A liter of fuel is more is more cheaper than a can of malt.
It's a good initiative because before no na Accra International Airport, near Saturday way. So Andrews meeting majority leader.
But I don't so my man fu say ya hantain okoko was near the own regret for that gesture.
Never.
Free senior high for ye the Sudi. And a tea more de mama.
Hi.
$1 million. Yeah, be some almost say now on per office over London, they were trying to list on the London Stock Exchange and all of that. $12 million. Myth what I could spend it.
Why hasn't he spoken on the Ken Oforiatta matter? It is because Ken Oforiatta and Baumia, for the 8 years, they were drafted.
Now, Okudzato Blakwa is making John Dramani Mahama to smile. Now, this is bringing a lot of behind the scenes. As in Yama Oriye, CCI won the constituency about trade when Babazara share video from mobile WhatsApp. Nevia, check your comment section and straight to the news. Now, we have seen many videos also yesterday. At this current government, this current administration, the opportunity to get free and accessible oil, it is actually very cheap. Now, Okudzato Blakwa is taking things to the next level. And this has not been done by any MP ever before. Now, Saboya, see, we are even having companies, Star Oil, not Goy Oil, who are even fighting each other as to who should reduce the price. And John Dramani Mahama, you want to say, hey, hold on. Fighting now on your butter. The floor, which you should not exceed no. And they say, oh, there, at to do 5 cities, at to do 5 cities, so yeah, man, go for 650 pesos. Because that is what Ghanaians are saying. We don't want to blow our own trumpet, but what we can say is that things are going on and it's ought to go on because Ghanaians, we don't just say it, we need to benefit it. You see, Okudzato Blakwa, after hearing all this, the behind the scenes and wanting to make a name out of it to benefit the constituency, a pull a trick be. Now, the behind the scenes of this trick, now the trick is this: he is giving the constituents, the drivers, the motorists, Okada Funingina, everyone that uses transportation in North Tongo constituency, also there free fuel Friday. Into this coming Friday, if a free fuel, free, not lower than latest, not cheap oil, no, a free latest, a free oil. Go to North Town. It's ye change Friday. We are going straight to North Town. Eko bubi. Into sekita trotro klako booker. Sekita trotro be the tankobu 10. Yeko ekita galon kokububi. And that is what he is using. And now we are going to talk about the behind the scenes. Now, you and I know that when it comes to flag bearer shipper, it's right in front of NDC to choose a flag bearer right after Mahama. If that is to say, if the 10th term no one bema. Now, whether it is true or not, there needs to be candidates who will either be vying for a vice running mate positions or they would want to be as part of the frontliners. But then, even though the union do, but then we need to still talk about it because it's actually trending on social media space and the comment sections of NDC people are talking about this matter. Mom and Command down there. Pulling something of this sort, Ebema, I catch the attention of John Dramani Mahama. You are actually telling the people there, say Ebebiuma, they are going to give you more and more and double. Because Obia, each and every time, if you look in parliament, if you look at our political demography, it would say Obama be ministerial appointment. So Obama be minority leader, majority leader, those kinds of positions they give to people Nakasa the constituency. He has majority of votes, meaning that the people love him. Now, if you look at Okudzato Blakwa, by pulling this trick, he already has so much of votes because the region he finds himself is actually the Volta region. Until he has certain things in favor of him. But there's something that goes in favor of Okudzato Blakwa by doing this. By doing this at this time, now I catch John Dramani Mahama attention. People are also saying that perhaps if he does not want to become the candidate because a lot of people are there, he has actually spotted himself for the running mate position if a candidate decides to take a certain position. I'm going to say, okay, this can be something very, very nice. This has also been stressed by Kevin Taylor. Now, watch him in totality. Kevin Taylor didn't want to say the specifics, but when you listen to what Kevin Taylor was saying, you could really see that some American are correct. So now, combining what Okudzato has done and looking at how John Dramani Mahama decided to make certain things cheaper, Kevin Taylor, they decided to make certain things cheap because of certain reasons. Now, how come the Okudzato is the only bold one to take an advantage of it, making Friday a free fuel Friday for all the commuters of or another road users of oil, the North Tongo constituency? Kevin Taylor said the reason why the NDC decided to take this approach, Okudzato is smart to have taken it ahead, no, is because of just one reason. You get the akache of oil, Kevin Taylor, Nevia, Chawadro comment section.
Marvelous. Edudi Tamaklo is doing marvelous communicator, marvelous work that he's doing at MPA. He has a little bit of work to do, and we all know a the institution there, you definitely meet challenges, and I know so far he has been exceptional. Edudi Tamaklo. Now there's something going on I want us to speak about, and Nipebi, there's an agenda going on, and we need to start speaking on these things because sa agenda no. Say yankele sa jandam na nipa bi a omo energy sector conversation no omo create some click bi they want to run down every single work the NPA boss does. Now NPA raises February price floors as OMC adjust price pump prices. Oh yeah, obi a friend of price floors, and so mana is basic amawa. Yawo ebo bi a saa ebo no eno na aban ede to ho a o making sure say at least saa ebo no OMC ana oil marketing companies ni nyina bedi saa ebo no so. Now there's a reason tia aban eye saa de no. Now me read this story na me show bibi me wi na ma kire ade bi a nipa bi ye. Now when you read the story, this is what it says. The National Petroleum Authority NPA has issued a new directive for the first pricing window of February 2026, effectively raising the minimum price levels at which petroleum products can be sold. Covering the period from February 1st to February 15, the directive mandates that no oil marketing company, that's the OMC, or LPG marketing company, LPGMC, may sell below these approved floors to prevent price undercutting and promote market stability. The new pricing thresholds. For the current window, the NPA has set the price floor for petrol at 9.99. That is 9 cedis 99 pesos per liter, and an increase from the previous 9.80. That's 9 cedis 80 pesos. This represents an increase of approximately 1.94. Now, NPA at the announcement about to say the first window in 2026, which is February, normally no. Fuel for and petrol for no windows na 15 days, technically 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks biano salary adjust prices, whether it goes down or it goes up. 2 weeks and the adjustment. Now MPA the abeto say BBI a friend no price floors no, and then increasing 1.94%. In the petrol no say base price no ya turn 9 cedis 99 pesos. That is the standard they have set. So any friend what we call price floors. Now the reason why we have price floors is simple. Also recently, you say an OMC led by one guy, Star or something like that. They were telling the government to say, Abain, why is the government not still lowering the price floors? Meaning, Abain and turn lower than Abain is selling it. Because they are saying, say, when you go to the world market, fuel prices above form, into identity Abain and drop it fuel. Normally, when fuel prices go down, normally the country, and I said the NPA, and now are buying petrol bono above form marginally or reasonably. Now, every country has its laws. Your BBI friend price floors. The reason is that you just saw a bono to wa. Say, a bank has a petrol a ton 9 cedis 99 pesos. The reason why a bank has say, one, the moment you go below that, what happens? And they say, you allow people from other places to start coming in and do what? And smuggling your fuel out. Say, imagine, say, Ghana fuel and say NPA moving it from 9.99. Now Abia Ivory Coast price floor no maybe what 10 cities 20 pesos. Now Ivory Coast for who say you movie your price floor no from 9.99 at about 7.98. What is going to happen? And they say Togo for the Ivory Coast for no, they are going to enter Ghana and they are going to start smuggling fuel from Ghana. Now, the moment they start to smuggle fuel from Ghana, it automatically will hike the price of fuel in Ghana. Until when the government does that, what the government does is they say, when they put the price floors down, it is to protect the local market. Now, when some OMCs and now oil marketing companies, big bass say, your prices, you bet lower than the government price. There are two things that happens. One, either says sa company, they are taking their fuel from an illegitimate source, and secondly, sa company ebia fuel no de ba no enye as high quality as the fuel the government is selling. And this own OMC bi no ka say aban say 9.99 no ya on santimbra form because sa OMC na tia ba 8. There are two things. The government cannot go into the outside market and buy cheap fuel. Secondly, the government cannot buy illegal fuel. Inti say OMC ko to illegal fuel. Let me tell you, there are some OMCs craft fuel every Russia. Na mix fuel no. Mixing it to some level, some quantity bia. And yes sir, and say the quality of fuel e Ghana. Into those OMCs no, auto a year one, my explain man here basic in show. Oh ships na the fuel lebano. You see the advantage we have as a nation when we have an oil refinery. Now, when you bring one ship, unrefined oil guma on petrol guma, sa ship no say 100,000 liters and now 1 million liters no ship ni more. The moment I remember tema port, abe refine sa oil no, it will turn into 4 ships. Do you understand? And nuntina, it is very necessary say it was so your refinery. Now, the advantage of you having your refinery in the say, so what the one ship crabba crude more. What is going to happen is say, you get about 7 products out of that one ship. So you end up getting like 4 ships. Now, so one gets our refinery. What happens in the say? Majority of the ship now, diesel and petrol, they are already refined fuel. And the MPP, what they were doing in the say, they didn't want Tema oil refinery to work because sa petroleum refinery near refinery that. Into buy na sa and done it into 4 ships, and done it just one. The money goes directly into some people's pockets. Now, the more they keep it that way, it means to say every time there's refined fuel, diesel, ebedru Ghana, they are not supposed to basically go and refine it for it to turn into 4 ships. I wanted to make it basic.
Now, to shock it all, to shock you to the core, there is a trick which has been put yet again by John Dramani Mahama about how he's even making the things even look. Now, there is something about strategies which John Dramani Mahama is using with this cheap oil certain things, which is even making Okudzato again taking advantage of it. The second part to blow your mind. Kevin Akache, and that is when you get to hear for the first time there. If you do it in your country, refine it in your country, you benefit for the country people. Get in the Embra. Share video the form of your WhatsApp.
Say Tema oil refinery. So or refining one ship maybe 1 million metric tons of diesel woma. We are obenya 4 ships. Yeah. Say Tema oil refinery. Into any 2 oil. Not Tema oil refinery. Refining 1 container. Sa container or refiner obenya petrol, obenya diesel, obenya kerosene, obenya other things. At the end of the day, the government makes so much money. Na ekufu money ba omiamono. They knew say when it happens that way, the money is going to go directly to the government because at the end of the day, the government is going to refine its own oil. So napomo any ekufu they cut that part of refinery. What they did was they went outside, bought already refined oil, brought it in, and then they turned Tema oil refinery into a tank farm. Into the oil don't refine in the bar. Straightforward, they put it in the tanks and they sell, and the money comes directly to them. But if a government wants to protect a country, what the government does, they say, or the onwangasani oil refinery, or to me 2 oil container bako, na adane 4 containers. What is going to happen? They say, Ebema when you fuel cheap in Ghana. So the fuel you are getting cheap in Ghana is not because John Mahama is doing something magical. He's being sensible in a sense to say he is not importing refined oil. John Mahama is relying on the little oil here now, and then refining it. It gives us about 4, 5 to 6 products. Into Tama oil refinery here refining oil in now. They are not just getting petrol, they are getting diesel. They are getting kerosene. They are getting another type of crude. Into one container now, Tama oil refinery, they make about 4 containers. Into when this goes on for a long time, that's a Tama oil refinery, be the capacity and refining more oil, we will still see fuel going down because now the government has other products that it can sell to come and do what? Come and cover up the costs now. And it is a converter petrol, a liter for 13 Ghana. The government, because it is refining its oil and getting other kinds of oil, it can sell those ones to do what? To come and cover that a kanan kebaba also. It is 3 cities. And about that 9 cities in the SWA. Sa 3 cities no. A buying ton petrol or ton kerosene or ton diakana na a casade on a buying able to be a sassy shim into you the customer no and are you the citizen Reno pressure now so. And that is what the government is doing now. And it's na since said John Mahama about power tema oil refinery started ye jumano. Sa refined oil no yemfam babium because all the refined oil back Ghana are buying the boka. You know why? Because nipa na the refined oil no babano or buy na or the beguka wakoton. The government makes no money. But the government na started or refining on one oil. What happens? And then they say government refining one shipper, it turns into 4 ships because sa oil no and nane e dani bebre now we nya other things wom. And then the government of the day is able to manage the fuel prices at this point. Now, when the NPA says say yento petrol at a certain what we call price floors, the NPA and the government are protecting the consumer. Now, say OMC Banoka say they are going to sell less than the government prices are. What the OMC is doing 2 things: either send the petrol or the bano or smuggle, and now 2. The quality of the petrol and yet to that standard of a buying, and it's not a buying cannot lower what we call the price.